Recording. Okay. Here we go, guys. Week 3. So let's do our review really quick. This review should go faster since we did it last week. Everyone got their InBody scan?
Yes.
Awesome. Open it up. How many of you gained muscle mass in the last week or 2 weeks? Raise your hand.
Wait.
Tall and proud.
I don't know.
Fantastic. How many of you lost body fat? Your body fat has come down. Ooh, there we go. That's why we call it the quick cut. Good. Make sure you're looking under your history. And then how about that protein intake? Did everyone keep up their protein? You're able to keep up that protein goal. Good. And then the new challenge was to eat 800 grams of fruits and vegetables a day. How many of you guys hit it at least one day? You measured it out. You're like, yep, I ate 800 grams. Really good. It wasn't as bad, right? Or was it a lot?
It's harder. Not if you break it into if you do it over time and have a little bit with each meal and snacks.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
It's not that bad. Now, it does feel like a lot for people who aren't used to eating fruits and vegetables. If you're not used to it, it does feel like a lot. So if that's your category, then this is a big change for you, which also means it's going to be a big leap forward in your health. This is a big opportunity for you to get healthier, okay? How many of you did more than 800 grams in a day? You did like 1,000. Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, good. No, that's good. This isn't a limit. And I realized the video cut off last week at an hour. It turns out that's what the camera does, stops at an hour. Sorry, I'm learning. But some of you thought that 800 was a cap, but it's not a cap. We want you to meet and exceed 800 grams of fruits and vegetables. Okay?
Very, very, very nice to find out.
To find out, yeah, poor Luba. She's like, I already ate my 800, I can't eat anymore. Good. How about sleep? How many of us got that 8 hours in bed? Nice. Nice, good. All right, and how about our workouts? 5 to 6. So how many got 5? Raise your hand since I saw you last. Yeah, good. And who got 6? Me. Good job, ladies. How many of you got 4? 3. 4, okay. 3, okay. 2, okay. So we need to ramp those up, right? The 2s, the 3s, that we really need to ramp it up. The bare minimum in your life needs to be most days of the week. So 4 or more, bare minimum. But to really get the results of this program, 5 to 6 days, okay? Good. How many of you were hungry this week? Hungry. You're like, I'm so hungry. Oh my gosh, Vivi, what? You're the one telling me you're like stuffing yourself full.
Yeah.
How are you hungry?
In the morning, I'm hungry. I was starving. I'm starving. I'm starving.
Okay, so we need to eat more.
Just throughout the day.
We need to eat more. Okay, you should not be hungry. You should not be going hungry. This is not a going hungry plan. You should be eating when you're hungry. What do you eat?
Protein.
And?
Fruits and veggies.
Bam! There is no restriction to those foods. We want you to eat them. How many of you are still restricting your foods? Like going like, oh, that's going to make me fat. Oh, that's too much. Like anyone having those feelings, thoughts? Good. Okay, great.
Foods that I shouldn't eat, yes. But
Okay.
not the ones that you listed.
Okay. Good. So today we're going to be talking about your schedules. We're talking about your biggest asset in life, your time. You only get so much. You get what you get, and that's what you get. Right? And so we're going to talk about that asset, time, and how you're spending it. Okay? But I want to give us a little perspective on this before we dive into the actual schedules, and you guys have your little block schedule there, which is fun and exciting. Right and wrong. Okay? We're not going to have some big, moral discussion right now. But I do want to clarify what we mean by right and wrong. Okay? Because you can make decisions that are more right, and you can make decisions that are more wrong. You can make a decision like, I'm going to go to the gym. That's a right decision for you most of the time. You can make a decision not to go to the gym, right? And it could be a right decision for you, depending on everything else that's going on. It's a variable situation. It varies depending on the situation, what's going on. If you have a kid who needs to go to the ER and you decide to go to the gym instead, wrong. We know that. okay? So it's not black and white. This varies, and it's a gradient, okay? Except for other areas of your life coming in and needing attention, this could be something like eating a donut. Well, if you're eating a donut every single morning and you have diabetes, meaning your body cannot process that sugar properly, we're making a wrong decision for your health, okay? If you're eating a donut one time a week and you are 100% on plan the rest of the time and you're getting in 5 to 6 workouts, it's okay. It's not that bad. It's not the same donut. Does that make sense? The donut you've had after on the 7th, 8th, 10th day of having donuts is not the same donut as the donut you're having one time. And yeah, it's going to make you feel a little sick. And it's maybe not the right decision, but it's not that wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about this. This is just to show you the gradient, okay? On this side, we have decisions, choices, behaviors that have no value. There's no return on it. And typically don't align to your goals. We would also say this is the sick side. You're headed towards being sick over here. Remember our sick, well, fit continuum? So these are the wrong decisions. These are the decisions that you make that you know you shouldn't be making, okay? And they're gradient, right? Taking crack cocaine is over here, yeah? Nobody did that this week. If you did, we should probably have this conversation, okay? But having a donut, you know, might be like right here. Having 10 donuts every day for 10 days is probably over here, right? And it's all a gradient. Cool? Everyone agree? We can also look at it this way, right? Like on this side, we have other purposes and other goals. What does that mean? Not yours. They're not your purposes. They're not your goals. Other people's purposes, other goals, okay? So, you know, the food industry is really hurting for cash, so I'm going to go ahead and go spend money on that junk food, right? That's how you guys think. Or, you know, my wife really wants to go out for ice cream, okay? And I want to take her out for ice cream, and she really wants me to enjoy that ice cream with her. That's a different purpose. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just another purpose besides your health. You're not going out to have ice cream for your health. Maybe you are, depending on your wife. You're going out for ice cream for your relationship, right? Different purposes, okay? Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have the things that align to your purposes and your goals. So this goes as far as return. We can look at what we're getting out of it. By choosing to go to the gym on a regular basis, your return is you get a fit body that's strong and has good stamina and can go out and do things in life, whatever you ask it to do, right? Like you ask it to take you on a 10-mile hike, it'll take you on a 10-mile hike. But if you haven't made choices in the direction of having that body and that return, you don't get to go on that 10-mile hike. You get to go on a 2-mile hike. Does that make sense? So those are the returns. Everyone tracking with right and wrong when we're talking about? Good. All right, so now that we're on that page, let's talk about importances, right? That not everything has the same importance. You have certain decisions in your health that are really, really important, and you have other decisions that make less impact. For example, going to the gym on a regular basis is like the giant stones. These have so much ripple effect into the rest of your life and the rest of your decisions that ditching that one is not the same as ditching the kale every day. They have different importances. Eating kale every day does not have a giant impact in your life. Going to the gym every day has a giant impact on your life, as you know, right? You sleep better. You are a nicer person to the people around you. You're learning new skills. You're creating future health, blah, 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 blah. Big stone, right? And then we have like the pebbles, which is kind of like middle of the road decisions, like getting a massage once a month, right? Like, okay, getting a massage once a month is not going to make or break you, but it will help reinforce that big stone that you are putting into your life of going to the gym every day. Make it easier on you. Make your body feel better when you move it, okay? And then you have sand, okay? And you have just like, you have these little things that you're doing, like every night when I put my butt on my bed, I do a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and I do a little bit of this. It's not going to make or break you. But okay, maybe it helps you relax a little bit and get a little bit better sleep. That's like sand, okay? You wouldn't go, oh, sorry, I can't go to the gym tonight because I need to do my little bit of this, my little bit of this, and a little bit of this, right? It's order of importances. It's weighing out what's going to create more impact and what creates just a little bit of impact on your health. Tracking? Have you guys ever seen this? Yeah. Okay, you put in the big things first, the big important things, then the less important, and then the sprinkle on top. Okay, here's another way to look at it. You guys have seen this, the pyramid, right? The idea is the bottom of the pyramid is your most important factors. Most important. If the bottom is not there, there's no point in working on the top. Okay? If you're not sleeping, you're eating crap, you're not exercising, and you're super stressed out, and you're like, I'm going to switch out my laundry detergent. That'll make me healthier, right? It's like, okay, I mean, great, do that, whatever. But like, that's not going to move the needle on your health. Making sense? And let's take it to something a little more real, right? Well, I'm exercising. Why do I need nutrition? Well, because without the nutrition, you're not moving the needle on your health with just exercise. Yeah, a little bit. And the cool thing about exercise, it's sneaky because it has a ripple effect. We tend to make better choices after we've worked out. We tend to think clearer after we've worked out. We tend to like want to do more for our health because we just did all that work in the gym on our health. It has this like sneaky effect. But if we're talking about just biologically speaking, exercise by itself is only going to do so much without nutrition to back it up and support you. Making sense? Okay, and then the one we all want to ignore, sleep. Not me, I love sleeping. Some of you, okay? Yeah, Adrian wants to ignore sleep. Guys, if you're not sleeping, this is where the body does the repair. This is where the body actually makes you stronger, actually makes you faster. You actually learn new skills while you sleep. There are neurological connections happening while you sleep. Have you guys ever heard the theory, those moms out there, there's a lot of moms, where babies start having interrupted sleep when they're learning a new skill? Yeah? Have you noticed it with him? Yeah. Okay, so baby's about to roll over. Guess what? You're about to be up every night in the middle of the night because in his sleep, he's learning to roll over. Okay? Or he's learning to sit up, or he's learning to crawl, he's learning to walk. And every time they come on to a new skill, their sleep gets interrupted because they're working hard in their sleep to learn this new skill. It's the same thing for you. You're learning to do a clean in your sleep. But if you don't sleep, you still can't do a clean, even though we've told you how to do it 100 times, right? In your sleep. All that stuff is happening in your sleep. Making sense? Don't mind her, it's just a bunny costume. It'll come out later. Real talk. She has a bunny costume. Good. Tracking, again, order of importances. Super, super important. Get that in, get that in, get that in. And yeah, let's clean up your environment, right? Stop using all those toxic chemicals around your house. And right, you guys have heard this stuff. Let's try not to store our food in plastic. Let's try to eat out of our own garden. Let's try to buy organic. Let's try to buy grass-fed, blah, 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 blah. That's up here, guys, right? If this is what, have you guys ever met that person? They're obsessed with this, but not doing any of this. And you're like, it's not that it's wrong. It's just like if you spent that much time and energy over here, you'd get way more gain. You guys are smiling because you know that person. I do too. Good. Okay, so let's talk about sleep. It's the bottom of our pyramid. We're talking boulders in the jar. Sleep. This is from our CDC website. They're the boss, if you're wondering. This is what they say, okay? And there's a really interesting point that I'm going to point out here. But here's our kids, right? Our babies. That's how much sleep they need for their health. Our babies still, our toddlers, preschoolers. Look at that. Look at that, you guys. Are your kids getting that much sleep? Will you fix it? She just kicked the camera.
I did. I'm so sorry.
Are your kids getting that much sleep? This is like sometimes shocking for people. Like, oh my gosh, my kid's getting 8 hours. They're deficient. Okay. School age kids, 9 to 12. How many of your kids are actually getting 9 to 12? Nice. Nice. Good. Teenagers, 8 to 10. I think they need more. Or at least mine does.
So it's fine.
Okay. Okay, grown-ups, 7 or more. Okay? I would say if you're training, you need 8. Okay? If you're not training, then cool, do 7. Right? But if you're training, you are putting that stress on your body on a regular basis. You need more. Recovery happens at night when you're sleeping. Making sense? Okay. Look at this. It goes up. between 61 and 64, the requirement goes up. Why is that? I call it reverse puberty. It's a transition time, right? So we're transitioning. Our hormones are coming down, right? There's a lot of changes going on specifically in these years. Crazy. Did you guys know that? Not all aging is the same. And then we've got our older years, and it's still up there, 7 to 8 hours. Cool? Anyone shocked? Okay, good.
I'm shocked.
You're shocked? Which part?
The toddler.
Oh, yeah, your baby's not getting that much?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But he wakes up in the middle of the night.
Put him back to sleep.
21 months. I just don't understand why he's still waking up. Maybe he's just learning.
Maybe he's learning new things.
Learning how to do a backflip in his sleep, apparently. I don't know.
Now, we are doing the quick cut, and so all of us want to lose body fat and gain muscle mass, right?
Yep.
So sleep has a lot to do with that. When you are not sleeping, your hormones are not operating the way that would be most helpful for us. And when you have less sleep, you tend to be hungrier because of those hormonal effects. You will eat more food with less sleep. Anyone notice that? Yep. Okay. When we looked at like studies and statistics, people eat an average of 300 more calories a day when they're sleep deprived. So if you're deprived of sleep every single day, right? Here's the other thing. What do you crave when you're tired? Sugar. Why? Quick. Yeah, it's a quick hit. Yeah. So when you're tired, sugar cravings go up. And what are you craving? Sugar. It's not like you're craving like a nice juicy steak. Oh, I am. But like, it's not like you're craving like a nutrient dense plate of vegetables and meat. You know what I mean? Like you're craving a donut. Like I just need something now, right? And you're tired and you're not in your right mind because you're tired and you're more likely to go get that donut. Yeah? Okay. Here's the other thing hormonally that happens is our cortisol goes up, and that's our stress hormone. And with that, we tend to store more fat in the visceral area. So if you sleep deprive yourself, you also are signaling to start building up the body fat around your organs. And that's where the diseases begin, the metabolic diseases. Cool? Everyone's tracking? I think we've talked about that. Okay, this was a study done. It was a very small study, okay, where they took a group of people and they said, okay, we're going to split you in two groups. This group is going to be in bed for 8 hours, okay, and then this group is not going to get to be in bed for 8 hours. And then they did the same diet, same routines. I don't think there was even any exercise in this study, if I remember correctly. It was 8.5 hours, and these guys had 5.5 hours, okay? So 2 different groups. They did the sleep deprivation and then sufficient sleep. This is how much body fat they lost, and this is how much muscle mass they lost when they were in a calorie deficit, okay? So they were controlling the food with 8.5 hours in bed. Remember, there was no exercise in this study, so when you just go into a deficit with no exercise, you lose muscle mass too, okay? This was what happened with their fat loss and their muscle mass loss without sleep deficient. They lost a whole bunch of muscle and just a little bit of fat with sleep deprivation. Now, before you go, yeah, but those 2 different groups, what they did is they swapped them. So group A did the deficiency and group B did sufficient sleep. Then they swapped. Group A did enough sleep and group B did not enough sleep. So they got an equal study. Same people. Does that make sense? So, but there was no exercise in this. This is just sleep and food and what happened. So this is what we're talking about when we say sleep is part of this program. If you want to cut fat and not just lose a bunch of muscle mass, right, you need to sleep. You also need to exercise, right? This is a really good reason because you don't want that either. We just want this. We don't even want that. And we can make this better by exercising. So, got that? Okay. Cool. Again, we're going to, one more thing about sleep, then I'll get over it. Okay. You guys know about our adaptation. We talk about it in Fitness 101. You train, you get less fit. You leave this gym less fit than you walked in. Everyone know that? Okay. We make you weaker in the gym. You leave the gym less fit than when you walked in. If I chased you before you got to the gym, you would be able to run away from me better than if I chased you after you just did the workout. You'd be like trying to get away from me, okay? You get weaker, and then you go home, you eat, you sleep, you get a massage, you do red light therapy, I don't know. You have like special air filters blowing in your house, I don't know. Whatever all that recovery stuff is, you ground yourself, you stand in the grass with bare feet. There's so many things, I don't know. You do stuff, but sleep and food is the big one, and your body gets fitter. And then it goes past where you walked into the gym, it gets you even better than before your workout. And then you go back to the gym, we make you weaker, and then you go home and you sleep and you eat, and then you go back to the gym and you get weaker, and you go home and you sleep and you eat. Okay, so now eliminate sleeping and don't eat well, and what happens? You get weaker, maybe you make a little recovery, then you get weaker, you make a little recovery, and then you get weaker, and we call that overtraining, which is totally a misnomer. You're not overtraining, you're under-recovering. I can get anybody to overtrain with 30-minute workouts. If they're not recovering, they're not recovering. It's not too much training, it's not enough recovery. Think about that. Have you heard about overtraining? You're just doing too much. No, you're not. You're not doing too much. You're not doing enough to recover from what you're doing. You could do 5 workouts a day and get continual gain, but you would have to do enough recovery to make up for those 5 workouts a day. And most of us don't make a career of getting in the recovery. Cool? So sleep, super important. Are you convinced it's a big stone in the jar?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, cool. So one way to improve our sleep is to be on a schedule, be on a rhythm. Our bodies are designed to go in a rhythm. You get tired at the same time every day, yes? You wake up around the same time every day, especially if you're getting sufficient sleep. Your body will just wake you up, same time every day, like a cycle. You are hungry at the same time every day, like a routine. Granted, as we shift things around, right, things are different and weird because we're changing choices. And if you're just getting into your training, you're like, wow, I'm way hungrier than I've ever been before, things like that. So getting into a schedule can help support your body in its sleep. Eating at the same time in the evening, eating at the same time in the morning, getting a little sunlight so that your body knows it's daytime, okay? And so you guys have heard the circadian rhythm. It has to do with the sun. And so there's various things you can do. Do they have the sleep hygiene checklist? So if you flip to the second page, there's a bunch of things you can do to help support your body in this and in your sleep. Things like having a really dark room and blah, 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 blah. It's all in there, okay? This is something for you guys to look at and just compare your routines that you have now to this list and see where maybe you can make an improvement, even if it's just a little one. Just a little improvement. Oh, we have a slide on it. I already said it. Cool? You guys looking at it? Yeah.
I see there it says naps don't make up for poor sleep and actually worsen it. Can you touch on that?
What's your question?
Naps.
Can you touch on that?
On naps?
Yeah. Right there on the
Behind you.
screen it says.
So, I mean, there's ideal, which is that you sleep at night and you're awake during the day. If you have a baby that woke you up 3 times in the night, you should probably take a nap. There's also this, right? People who walk around with insufficient sleep are actually a danger to themselves and to the people around them. They tend to make mistakes. Those mistakes can put your own body at risk and other people's bodies at risk. So if you're deficient on sleep and you have a chance to get a nap, get a nap. I would rather hang out with a napped person than a non-napped sleep deficient person. So this is where it's a gradient, right and wrong. Now, if it's 5 o'clock at night and your nap is now going to interrupt your next night of sleep, probably don't take a nap. Just don't do anything risky, right? Like you need to make choices based on the situation. If you're about to go operate a car, you're about to go on a road trip, and you're sleep deprived and you have an opportunity to take a nap before you go drive that car, go take a nap. Yeah? Okay. So that's one of those things that you have to, it's gradient, right and wrong. But if it's going to interrupt the next night and you don't have to take a nap, then don't do it. Get to bed earlier. Use that time to get caught up on whatever you need to get caught up in so you can get to bed earlier and get a bigger night's sleep the next night. Cool? Okay, so your greatest asset, I mentioned this before, is your time. With time, you can do anything. You can build health, you can build fitness, you can build wealth, you can build relationships. Think about it. Time. You can't replace it. You have what you have. It is your greatest asset. Anything you want to accomplish, you have to have time for it. Yes? Yes. There's no amount of money that can replace time. But time can replace money. You can get money in your time. Cool? So what are you doing with your time? Where are you spending your most valuable asset? We're going to take a look at this. Typically, we spend a lot of our time at work getting money, right? We have to. Cool. So we have a big chunk coming from going into work, into working. Yes? That's where I spend most of my time. And then we've got family, building those relationships, taking care of those people. Family, we spend a lot of time, hopefully. Then we've got eating. Yes, you spend time eating, right? Right, Fifi? Yep. 9 o'clock at night. Time sleeping. We spend a lot of time sleeping. We should be spending a lot of time sleeping because if we start to squish this down, Adria, we make this really, really small so we can spend more time on other things. Those things start to suffer and then you lose overall time, right? Because you can't just think about your 24 hours. You got to think about your 120 years. Okay? That's what I'm thinking for us, like 120 years, and then peace out. Cool? Hobbies. Okay? You spend time on your hobbies, the things you like doing. Chores, yes, we clean our houses. We're spending time. All of this is costing us time. So I want you guys to think now what you're spending your time on. And our next exercise is we are going to write out an ideal schedule. I don't want you to write down what you do. I want you to write down where you're going to spend your money. You know, like, do you guys write budgets? Household budgets? Yep, okay. So you go, this is where I'm going to spend my money. Do you do it perfectly? No, you don't. If you do, we need to talk because I need some tips. I write a budget. I try to spend within that budget. I never do. But if I didn't have a budget, it would be way worse. Okay? This is your budget. This is what you got. And I hate to break it to you, but we all got the same. Nobody's richer in time. We all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So your sheet there, we're going to take a few minutes now. We're going to spend some time writing out where you are spending your time, where you need to spend your time. Start with sleep. Start with sleep. Bottom of the pyramid, most important boulder going in that jar. Where are you sleeping? And you need to block off 8 hours in bed. At the very least. 9 hours in bed will guarantee you have enough time to get your 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours in bed does not guarantee you'll be able to get 8 hours of sleep because that's just time in bed. And we all know we don't instantly fall asleep, right? And heck, if you got to get up and pee in the middle of the night, right? Well, now you just lost more sleep. So 9 hours in bed is more likely going to get you 8 than 8 hours in bed, which will not get you 8. Okay, so let's block off your sleep time. Make a line where it's time for you to go to bed, right? Somewhere down at the bottom of that grid, bedtime. And then wake time. When do you wake up? And yes, it should be the same. Every day. Every day it should be the same. One thing that I do is I have a set schedule during the week, and on Saturday and on Sunday, I allow my body to sleep longer if it needs to. Sometimes it wakes up at 4 o'clock, just like every other day. But on other days, it might wake up at 4:30 or 5. I allow that to happen because it's playing catch up for any missing sleep from the week. Cool? So try to make it the same schedule, but then it's okay. I call them no alarm days. I have Sunday as my no alarm day. There's no alarms. So my body can just sleep. Cool? Okay, go ahead. We're writing. Everybody's writing. Then you're going to add in work, because if you work, you know that's pretty set for most of us. It's a pretty set schedule. So you're going to write in your work time. And then really important, you've got to write in when you're eating. Maybe you don't need a full hour to eat. Most of us don't. But write in where it's going to happen. Which hour are you eating within? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you can use like arrows across or whatever. For those of you born in the September range, you're going to go home and make a spreadsheet and color code it. And my Virgos. What is your?
September 30th.
Oh yeah, see, told you. Anyone born in the September? I'm Virgo, so I know. Okay, and then of course your workouts, right? Workouts. We're talking the pyramid. We're just going through the pyramid here. We did throw work in there because without work we can't afford anything. We can't afford a place to sleep. We can't afford the food to eat. We can't afford the gym to work out in, right? So you guys have to work, so we put that in there.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What was it?
It's okay. Just yeah.
Like, what is the time you should cut off eating in the evening?
Oh, this is a good question. So what is the time we should cut off eating? Again, we've got to go back to that gradient of right and wrong. So I finished coaching at 6:30. I need to be in bed at 7:30. So I have 1 hour to close the gym, drive home, which is only 3 minutes, don't worry. Drive home, eat food, get in bed. Now my choice is, do I just not eat, right? Or do I eat and get in bed with a full stomach? I eat, because I need to eat. So it depends.
So it really doesn't matter how late you eat.
Matter for what?
Like,
Sleep quality or body fat?
yeah, your body fat.
Okay, so no. I eat at night. I'm doing okay.
3 days to make a
I've been eating at night right before bed for years because of my schedule. So no, right? Because we have to look at what I'm eating. We have to look at how much I'm eating. We have to look at the rest of my day. It's not black and white. It's not true that eating at night makes you fat. Not true. Okay? Now, sleep quality. Sometimes people will not sleep well after eating. And sometimes it's what they're eating, not that they're eating. So there's a lot of different choices happening in there, some different variables that we could do this more right or we could do these more wrong. If I was eating chocolate cake before bed every night, that wouldn't go well. It would affect my sleep, it would affect my morning, it would affect, right? But I'm typically eating meat right before bed. Yeah.
How do you balance out school and life and babies? Because
On your schedule?
On Mondays and Wednesdays, I have school from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m.
So you-
and then I work at 7:15. So then I have to come to the 5 a.m.s on those days.
Cool.
But
So that's where this comes in place, right?
I won't sleep enough because I have to leave by like 6:45 to make it to work. You know where I'm coming from? Because if I have to wake up at 5 a.m., right? And then I'm not in bed until like 11 on school nights.
Because you're doing homework.
Yeah,
So can you do your homework on the weekends?
I could.
There you go.
Okay.
'Kay.
But I still get home at 9:30, and I won't be in
On the
bed.
weekends?
On Mondays and Wednesdays.
Gotcha.
Dinner with you and driving in
Yeah.
your car.
Yeah, not the dinner.
So there's strategies, but here's the other thing. Like, you need to look at those days and see what you can move out of those days on the days that don't look like that.
Okay, and I can't.
Like meal prepping, like homework, like cleaning, like could you have their clothes laid out? Could you have the entire week of clothes laid out? You need to see what you can cut out of the day and put it in the days where you have more time. We all have the same amount of time, and that's rough, right? That's a struggle. But how can you gain time in those days where they're just wild? Because I've wild days too, but I don't try to do things that I can do outside of those days in those days.
Okay,
Cool?
it's a sleep.
season of life.
Yeah, it's a sleep. That's the problem.
Yeah. So
Getting to bed and
Yep.
waking up on time.
yeah.
Because you wake up at 4 a.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. Except I go to bed at like 11 on school nights.
Right.
So
So
that's
you
the
got to
problem.
change that.
Okay.
You've got to change that. You
I
not
want to make my workouts. And I can't come to the 5:30s because I pick up Manasa like right at 5:30 is pickup time. You know what I mean?
5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where I can put my workouts in on Mondays and
So you get home at 10 and you go to bed at 11:30.
11. I get home at like 9:30 and then I go to bed at 11 to do a little bit of homework on Mondays and Wednesdays. And
Got it.
I want to wake up at 4 a.m. so that I can make it here by the 5 a.m.
So there's your opportunity. You get home at 10, you're in bed by 10:30.
Okay.
So you need to figure out how to move that activity, those activities you're doing at night, to a different day.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Got it.
Now, here's the other thing, right? This is your life. This is your life. Believe it or not, that is your job. That is your school schedule. Yes, other people are involved, okay? But it is sometimes surprising that if you go to your boss and you say, hey, I'm really working on my health. I would like to come in 1 hour later. Here's how I can make it up. I won't take a lunch break, or I'll take a shorter lunch break, or right? Come up with a solution so you can train in the mornings and get enough sleep. You're going to show up better for your boss. Explain that to them. Maybe they don't know. Hey, I'm coming here on 6 hours of sleep. I'd like to come here on 7 with a workout so I can be better for you. Talk to them. Talk to them. Okay? Like, you might be surprised. You're like, oh, I couldn't ask. Yeah, you can. You might be surprised at what other people will do to support you. For real. Okay? So, again, it's like taking that control and seeing what can be done. They're not going to fire you over asking. They can't. I mean, they can, but they can't. You know, they'll fire you for something else. Okay, how we doing? Do you guys have your family time, your church commitments, your music lessons, your crochet, knitting club, book club? Got it in there? All that stuff you're spending time on, right? Your braiding hair circle time, Josh? Okay. Okay. Good. Ready to talk about people? Okay. People problems. I had a lot of discussions with people this week about people problems. People, they're our biggest. We need them, and it's like food, right? You got to have it. You can't just sign it up, like just go swear it off and be like, I'm not going to do that anymore. We need our people. We love our people. We exist to serve our people, right? So it's how to bring them in to what you're doing. That's the big problem. You're doing something else from what they're doing. And they can react differently to what you're doing. They might have positive reactions. They might have negative reactions. They might have covertly negative reactions where it's like this, like, what did that mean? Right? Like, oh, you're like out to lunch and you order something you don't normally order. And they say something like, oh, that's not like you. Who are you? It's like, what did that mean? Right? It's like not quite surface level. That's people problems. And there's one solution, and we'll get to it. But we've got you. You could be the problem. Let's be honest. Some of you are the problem. You're the one going, let's go have donuts. It's Sunday. Hey, it's Monday. Let's have donuts. You know, like you could definitely be the problem. You're the one making all that sourdough bread and like dishing it out to all your friends. Okay, like we have some folks who make sweets, brownies, and cookies, and I'm like, wow, you are the problem. They don't eat it themselves. They literally just give it to other people. We have people who are making sourdough bread every single week. They don't touch it because they know what it does for their health, but they're feeding it to their family and they're feeding it to their friends. Okay. Yeah, people problems, and sometimes it's you. Family, really tough, right? Like they've seen you your whole life go through various plans and various things, and this is just another phase, you know? Yep. That makes it really, really tough. And then your close friends, same thing, right? Like, and a lot of times what you do with your friends is food and beverages. That is the thing you do, right? So now what do you do with your friends? Okay? You have to do activities. You have to talk to each other. I don't know. Coworkers, break rooms. Anyone have a break room? Yeah, break rooms are rough. And then communities. Okay, tomorrow, a lot of us are going to go Easter egg hunting with our communities. Guess what? They're going to feed your children. Disgusting, right? That's what our communities do. And it's just because that's all they know. They don't know better. And your kids are going to come home with just loads of poisonous sugar with dyes and all sorts of crap, right? Joy. So yeah, communities, right? What is a problem? A problem is when you have one intention and another intention and they don't align. I want to go to the park, you want to go to the movies. Problem. Okay? I want to eat healthy, you don't. Problem. They're in direct conflict. That is what a problem is. A problem can also be going in two different directions because you're married and you're supposed to be going in the same direction, but you're going in two different directions on your health and your food. That's a problem. Not because of the two different directions, because you're married, you're supposed to be going in the same direction, and you're not going in the same direction. Problem. Okay? And then we have alignment, which is the opposite, where you come from all these different areas and we're all aligned. This is why this community works. We're all in alignment. We're all doing the same thing. We're trying to get healthier. The way we get there might look different, and that's okay because we're all going in the same direction. We all want to get healthier. We want to learn. We are open-minded about what is going to work, and we're looking for ourselves to find out what's going to work for health. And so we don't have problems with each other. We don't, because we're all aligned. Make sense? Okay. So how do we fix it? Education. You're going to see it at the top of the list. We have to educate. We can't make people feel bad about it. We can't shame them. We can't yell at them. I tried. It doesn't work. Those things don't work. The only thing that works is education. The biggest hurdle to overcome in this is thinking they already know or thinking you already know. When you think you already know, there's no opportunity to learn. Right? If you're like, oh, I already know how to drive a car, and I was like, let me teach you how to drive a car, you'd be like, no thanks, I already know, right? But let's say it's a brand new type of car, right? It drives itself. You just have to press a button, and I'm going to teach you how to press the button. You're never going to learn how to press the button because you already know how to drive the car. Make sense? Okay. So that's the biggest hurdle, and that is a huge hurdle. You don't have that hurdle, otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you guys thought you already knew, you wouldn't be sitting here, right? But they are not sitting here. Your people problems are not sitting here because they think they already know, okay? So you have to get over that. That's going to be a big one. For you, when you're the problem, education, discipline, and then medicine, right? Sometimes we do have to incorporate some medicine to help you out. When your bodies are already not operating well, we have to then bring that into play. Like you're already diabetic, you're already insulin resistant, your body's already having trouble doing its normal things. That's where medicine comes in, okay? Family, we need to educate them. We need to teach them. Friends, we need to educate them. We need to teach them, okay? I'm just gonna say this over and over. Coworkers, we need to educate them. We need to teach them. Community, oh, this is fun, something new. We need to educate them. Right? We need to teach them. And boycotting. Huh? You just don't participate in it. You don't need to participate in the thing. This could go so far as like our overall community. Imagine if everyone was like, we're not buying Dutch Bros anymore. Sorry. Dutch Bros has two choices. They can make something else, okay? Stay in business, make something else that's not full of sugar, okay? Or they can just go out of business. They can shift gears or go out of business. Imagine if like everyone was like, no more Dutch Bros. And Dutch Bros was like, but wait, we can make a protein shake. But wait, we can do this without all the sugar. But wait, what if we use dates to sweeten it? Wait. Okay, now we're shifting, right? That's boycotting, or hopefully boycotting. Like that's the dream. They'd probably just go out of business. But you have a choice whether or not you participate in these things. Right? Okay. So let's talk about educating. Where do we start with these peoples, with our people problems? You need to start with yourself. You need to really understand the subject. You need to really understand why you're making those choices. So that when you're asked about it, your answer is not, oh, it's just a food plan I'm doing right now. No. When you're asked about it, you can explain. Well, I found out that when I eat processed foods, my blood sugar goes really high and really low. Not only does it make me feel bad, but that's actually how diabetes begins. That is the beginning of the metabolic diseases, and I don't want that disease, right? Like, you need to know. Why don't you eat rice? Why? What's wrong with rice? I've been eating rice my whole life. Well, when I was wearing a continuous glucose monitor, I found out that there was nothing like rice for getting my blood sugar out of range. Rice was the most intense change in my blood sugar out of everything, more than an apple, more than anything else I ate. Rice spiked it and dropped it like crazy. Okay, wow, I had no idea, right? But you would have to know that. You've got to know, right? Okay, so you haven't been doing grains for like, 3 months. How come? Oh, well, let me show you my in-body scans. Look at this. That's what happened when I stopped eating grains, and I like that. Great. Like, have a real conversation. Well, my coach said I can't. That doesn't educate. It doesn't teach. It doesn't bring them in, right? It doesn't invite them in to make choices for themselves. That is the key. You need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's why we do all these hour-long talks, okay? That's why we do in-body scans, is so that you can understand it yourself.
Eat in front of people.
What was that?
Bring a healthy choice of what you eat and eat in front of them.
Set a good example.
Exactly what I do
Yeah,
with kids.
you set a good example. And then you need to start with what's common to the two of you. When you're having a conversation with, let's say your brother, okay? You have a grown brother. He has no concept of health, fitness, nutrition, nothing, okay? He's a beer drinking, pretzel eating, pizza loving dude. Did I name your brother? Okay, never met her brother. Is that good? We all have one. You have one. Okay, so it's your brother, right? Okay, so you're having Thanksgiving with your brother, and your brother makes a comment about like, live a little, have some wine, or whatever. That's my uncle. Live a little. So boring. Like, well, okay.
That uncle too.
You have an uncle like that? Yeah. Love him to death. But so you're sitting down, he made some kind of comment, that's an invitation. Okay? It's an invitation to either slap your brother or to talk to your brother. Okay? And for these methods, we're going to talk to him. And you need to start with what is common between you. Okay? Depending on your relationship, you can go deeper or stay shallow. But if you go straight into like blood glucose levels, shut down. But if you go into, I just noticed that I feel better when I don't do that. Like I was having a lot of low energy. Do you ever have low energy? And they go, yeah. Your brother goes, yeah, I feel that way all the time. I just drink more Red Bull, right? And then you can ask like, what happens after the Red Bull wears off? Or I just drink another Red Bull, right? And then you could say, well, what I started to do actually keeps my energy high all day. And I have more energy now for work and for chores and for baby and for, cooking or whatever, right? In my job, like I'm just like so much more stable with energy. He probably recognizes energy problems. So talk to him about that. Don't talk to him about, the quick cut. It won't land because there's just no connection there. But like how you feel and how they feel, there's going to be connection because we're all in human bodies and they respond similarly. Cool? So start with the common. Think of like, what are they going to connect with when we talk about this? Yeah? Okay. And that's relate your knowledge to their understanding, their reasons that they might make changes for themselves. And depending on the person, you might do this more of just in a kind of a bored way. Like, yeah, well, like I was pretty tired every day, so I just fixed it by just eating better. And if that's your brother's kind of range where he's at with his life, it will probably land. But if you like go to your brother who's kind of like just bored in life and you're like, oh my gosh, so let me tell you all about it. Okay, so like I just stopped eating like that and now I have so much energy. He's probably gonna just slap you in the face, right? So you need to meet them where they're at. Cool? If you really want to help them. Making sense? Do you have any questions? Do you have any people that you're like, I have no idea what to do about this person? Who is it?
My best friend Jenny.
You brought her here. That was huge.
3 times and she doesn't want to come back.
Yeah.
I tried.
So with her, we probably need a one-on-one sit down because she's been here 3 times. And I've never had a one-on-one with her. That's probably, yeah. Because we need to help her find her why. But she keeps coming in, so she wants it. We need to help her find her reason. Yeah. Okay, who else?
Children.
Your kids. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay. They will do what you do. You're providing them. That one? Is she the problem? No, this one. You're not a child, Adria. Okay, so the littles, right? You control their food. The only time we don't control their food is at school. Really. And sometimes at church.
Sorry, I tried.
School's changing.
So school is a huge problem. I don't know. I don't have an answer other than we just keep doing what we need to do in our political world to try and raise awareness and get things changed. So there's not chocolate milk, there's whole milk, right? That's what we need. If there's chocolate milk, the kid's going to drink chocolate milk. And I'm not there to be like, well, let's think about this choice, right? But your kids at home, don't have it in your house. That's the answer, guys. That's the answer for you. It's the answer for your kids. It's the answer for your family. Don't have it in the house. Why do you think your 5-year-old's going to make a good choice when you can barely make a good choice? Don't have it in the house. That is the answer. You keep the home environment clean so they can eat whatever they want and you don't have to control it. Oh, you want a snack? Cool, go pick. You've got cucumbers, grapes, apples, string cheese, yogurt. Have whatever you want.
I have like the easiest children in the whole wide world because we don't have any of that in the cupboards.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If it's there, they're gonna want it, right? You want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you do it with like someone who's like puts everything on genetics? Like I would love for Christoph.
Who is it?
It's Christoph's mom. Yeah, it's my mother-in-law. Everything's genetic. She puts it on. Yeah, I'm so big because I had Christoph, and it's like he's 30.
So meet it. Oh, I know.
Like it's been 3 decades.
The baby weight.
Where's
So again, you need to meet her where she's at, right?
Yeah.
You can't just tell her she's wrong. Okay. You meet her where she's at. Like find out what she would like help with, and then start there. What is the one thing she would like help with?
But that's the problem. It's like when we talk to her, it's just like, yeah, I'm doing this, and my doctor says I should, and puts her on another medication. And
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I help her?
So it's not easy, right? But you need to find out her own reason for wanting to change. If she doesn't have her own reason, then she's not going to. But so this, whatever, who cares? My parents are great. They won't care. I'll tell the story. So they don't come to the gym. Have you guys met my parents? No. Okay, they're yeah, you have. They're members. Have you met my mom? You've met my mom? Yeah, like once or twice. Okay. Every once in a while she'll pop into Forever Fit. Okay, so a couple years ago I was like, man, this really stinks. So I went and sat down with them. We sat on the patio, and I just, because it's my parents, right? I love my parents, and I said to them, and I cried, and I might get teary right now, but I said, look, like you guys are amazing grandparents. And I can't stand the idea of losing you any earlier than I have to. And the choices you are making are leading in that direction. And they work really hard on their health. They really do. I mean, I didn't have sugar growing up. I used to sneak cough drops as sugar. That was the sugar in our house. I would sneak them and hide the wrappers at the bottom of the trash can. We did not have sugar. So it's not that their choices are off. I just know it can be way better. Okay? And so we had this conversation. I said, hey, I called him up. I said, I want to sit and meet with you. You know, those passing conversations, they're probably like at a holiday or at a dinner or picking up the kids, or those don't work when the person, like when you have something really important to say, you have to set aside time. And so we did. We had a really good conversation. My mom immediately came back to the gym. My dad started to do the at-home program again, right? It all faded back out, but you know, it's time for another one. It's time to sit down and have another conversation. Remind them why it's so important to me, right? It worked because I was speaking from the truth. I'm not trying to make them look different. I'm trying to make them last longer. I'm trying to change their diapers later in life, which is what I tell my dad. Like, keep doing those squats, Dad. I don't want to pick you up off the toilet, you know? That's the truth of it, right? That's our future. I will be the child taking care of them when they get to that point. So I want that point to happen way later.
Well, in those conversations, I mean, I'm here because my grandkids were like, we want you around for our kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's like 5 or 6 years. They're like, no, 15.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, dang.
better do something.
Yeah, Right. So with your mother-in-law, it's going to have to be a true conversation where you're really communicating about what it means to you, what it means to the grandchildren, that sort of thing. It's not going to be a passing thing. And if you don't have the cojones to do that, right?
It's not that.
Then
It's not that.
then have someone else do it.
It's Christoph has talked to her multiple times. She's
Yeah.
coming today. Christoph has talked to her multiple times.
Cool.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
So you can also set up appointments with me, right? We do free consultations, and that's what we do. And in the clinic, we have a program called Movement Restoration Coaching for people who are way on this end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we do is we help them find their reason to do it. Your reason is not going to be their reason. Like my parents haven't found their reason. They did it for me, for my reason, for a little while, but then it faded out because they didn't find their reason. Make sense? So we got to find her reason for doing it. Okay. We already got into this, but strategies for dealing with people, right? Your people. And then Chris mentioned it, bringing food. It's a little weird sometimes, feels weird, right? It's like, that's odd. Learning how to order off menus. Our final talk is going to be meal prepping, restaurants, real life cooking. How do we actually incorporate some of this long term so it's easier? Eat before you go. This is one we do all the time. Eat high protein, high fat before you go. Brings all the cravings down. So when you're in that food environment where there's all these triggers, you're not hungry. And if you do partake, then it's not loads of it because you're not hungry, okay? It will feel weird. You remember that graph where we talked about going from trying new things and new habits to it becoming who you are?
Yes.
Okay, so remember the first time you did a clean or a snatch and it was like weird and uncomfortable? What if you came to me and you're like, this is not who I am? You would never learn how to do a clean and a snatch. It's the same thing with this stuff. It's going to feel weird and awkward and uncomfortable. But when you practice it, it can be who you are. And it doesn't have to be weird. Yeah, the snatch feels weird the first time you do it. Really weird. Your body's never done that before. And so does eating before you go to the party. It feels weird. But once you practice it and you experience it and you figure out, oh, wow, I actually went to that party and I had a little bit of sweets and it wasn't a big deal and I wasn't craving. I didn't have to talk to myself 20 times about walking away from the dessert table, and like all that went away and I could just enjoy myself. Didn't have to worry if they were going to have the right foods for me because I already ate the right foods for me, right? You find out, you're like, wow, that was kind of great, and you can still go have your social life and not worry about food. Takes all the worry away. You can just be social. What? Crazy. Okay. Tracking macros and enjoying. This is another strategy. So if you're like, you have a goal, you're trying to stay on track with your goals, you can control your food knowing what you're doing later in the day. Okay. So like, it's your birthday. You're going out to your favorite restaurant. You know what you're going to order. It's your favorite restaurant. Cool. Put it into MyFitnessPal. Find out what the macros are. Oh, wow. That's 1,000 calories I'm going to be consuming tonight for my birthday, right? Cool. Go the rest of your day spreading out whatever you have left. Then by the time you get to the restaurant, do your thing. You're all set. It doesn't take you off track at all. You planned it into your day. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Any other ideas? No? Cool. Oh my gosh. I'm going to do it. I have 1 minute left. Okay. I'm on time. Okay. Here's what we're doing. We are following the do's and don'ts. You guys know the do's and don'ts. We're inside the box. How many of you went off plan last week? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 1 time, 1 time, 1 time, 1 time? Okay. How'd you do, Chris?
I did better.
How many times are you off plan? Not 10 times?
Not 10 times.
Good job. Up is up. We're following the do's and don'ts. We are not logging food anymore. Some of you are using that as a crutch. We need to get rid of your crutch. You need to start understanding what your food looks like and start eating food based on what it looks like. You've been doing it for 2 weeks. You know how much protein you need to eat. You know how much fruits and vegetables you need to eat. Now you're going to get rid of the log and you're going to do it based on what you've built over the last 2 weeks. Do what you've been doing. You don't need to measure. Now you do it based on visual. Oh, well, last week when I was measuring this out, I needed to eat 4 little cucumbers. Keep eating 4 little cucumbers. Okay? Last time I had to eat an apple every day. Keep eating an apple every day. Okay?